Dr. Barbara Williams has been our program director for some time, and she's a marvelous contributor to our organization. We believe strongly that everybody has amazing power within themselves to go from where they are today to making a contribution. And Dr. Barbara has made an amazing contribution to Safe Kids Now. So how did you get to where you were to where you are today?
Well, first I want to commend Miss Stephanie, as I always refer to her as, for doing such a fantastic job with Safe Kids Now. I came on board because I believed in your motto of turning the kids, the community's heart back to the children, and because I grew up in a community where the children were able to play. It was a safe community. It was a community where everyone was involved. We knew everyone on the street. My mother and father were stables in the community, and that was one of the things that we were taught, that we were our brother's keeper. Everyone was taking care of everyone. Look at today to know that we go into our houses and our homes, we wave, we do the remote control, the garage goes up, we go in, we close it, and we have no connection whatsoever. I think a lot of what I'm able to do today is because I have a good support system, not only my parents, but the neighborhoods as well. And now we had developed great relationships.
Good.
And that's what
great.
I was then taught, that I could do whatever I set my mind to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I did. I was one of those 1 in a million.
Well, I think so many of us live in neighborhoods, and there's a lot of loneliness and a lot of alienation, a lot of fear, and people are not connecting.
Mm-hmm.
What can we actually do to help people get connected and say, this is important, it's important that you get involved in your community? What are your thoughts on that?
Because I grew up in a neighborhood where we had the connections, and to be able to see the results of not being connected today, I can sit back and say, you know what, this is what comes with being in a neighborhood, is that you have a support system. We have many seniors that are in our communities, and because all of us have been dislocated or mislocated or relocated because of our jobs, because of the economy, because of various situations, and then we've lost our families, and so now you have no one and you feel isolated. So one of the most scary things is that if you have an emergency, or if something were to happen to me, who could I call on?
Right.
And even with our children, as many of us have to work, many of us mothers that have to work now, we used to count on the neighborhood being safe, that our kids could come home, they could go in the house, we knew somebody's going to be watching them. But now we don't have that, and that's so stressful. So being able to have a support system takes some of the stress,
right,
anxiety, which causes all of the health problems that we have today. Many people wonder why we're having heart attacks, and diabetes is so prevalent in our communities, is because of our diets and the stress factor that we have. So I could see the importance of us having a relationship with the person next door. Now, we have been trained, though, in our society to have steps. Show me how to do it, tell me what I must do, and then show me how. Adopt a Block then gives you steps and guidelines, and the do's and the don'ts. Because if you've not been told what to do and you're doing it on your own, sometimes we can help you with some of the roadblocks, because Adopt a Block will give you some ideas and some guidelines, and then some of the things that you can do which you didn't know that you had power to do.
Right.
Which is, you're in control of with the policemen and how they go in and out of your neighborhoods, and you can call them. And we've learned so much, you and I, since we've been working with Adopt a Block. The police have their own personal telephones, they have their emails,
Yes.
you can text them. All of those things are available now, because some people, you said about snitching. Oh, I don't want to get on the phone, I don't want anybody to know who I am. My little youngsters now can be in the midst of a gang fight, and they can text and get the police there without anybody ever knowing. So those are some of the things that we're learning so that we can empower not only ourselves but our youngsters as well.
Power of one is that most of us, and practically all the people we've interviewed, and I think we've interviewed for this series, maybe about 8 people, and everybody has come from a totally different perspective, just like everybody has a different life, but they have learned through their experience that they have power. But they've had to put themselves out. They've had to go and do things that were maybe a little uncomfortable. Going door to door, for example, may sound like a bit of a threat. But once you do it, you go, whoa, I did it. Good for me. Maybe I can take the next step. Barbara Vigil lived in her community, and they had drug dealers that took over their neighborhood. And it was right across the street. It was Davis Park in San Pablo, California. So Barbara decided that, we don't like having drug dealers in the neighborhood. And the city council didn't like it either, but they decided, the city council, to put a fence around the whole park. And she said, what? That's not a good solution here. So she went to her neighbors, got her neighbors involved, and they went out and started taking descriptions. They started writing down driver's license numbers, and this was all very subtle, no big deal, but they did report it to the police, and within 3.5 months, they had gotten rid of all the drug dealers because there was too much pressure on them. Well, they went back, the neighbors went back to city council, and they said, you know what? We cleaned up the park. Now we want the money you were going to use for the fence for a new swing set for our kids. And the city council approved that, and they got the money to improve their city. Now the best part was, within 10 years, Barbara Vigil became the mayor of San Pablo, California.
Yes.
So she went from being frightened, having a little encouragement, to going to be the mayor of the city. Well, listen, not everybody can do that, but you can take that small step of talking to your neighbors. Let's go to www.safekidsnow.com.